It's God's country. You go out there, I'm my own boss. I watch the sun go down every evening, watch the sun rise every morning, and there's nothing like being out on the water. It's just in your blood. You can't get out of it.
For as far back as A.C. Cooper can remember, and then some, his family have been shrimpers. And the family that will follow him plan to be shrimpers as well.
They all love the water, love to go on a boat. My grandson just had to do a story on at school. You know what his story was? Going on a boat with his grandpa, shrimping.
But as romantic as the notion is of generations following in their grandpa's footsteps, the future of the shrimping industry is far from certain.
This is 2017. I'm getting paid less now than I did in the 80s. So how can anybody in any industry survive at that rate? Inflation's out the roof. I used to pay $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 for a motor. I'm paying $30,000 for a motor.
Every time the industry kind of seems like it's going to get on its feet, it gets knocked back down again.
After fighting back from events such as Katrina and Rita, and even the oil spill, one of the major struggles the industry is facing dates back to the 80s and 90s.
We didn't realize it, but we had imports coming in.
Foreign shrimp imports had arrived in the country, flooding the market and sending the price of pound per shrimp plummeting.
We used to get $4, $5 a pound for our biggest shrimp. Today we can't get $2 for them.
According to NOAA, 90% of the seafood eaten in the U.S. is imported. The number is up from 60% from 2 decades ago.
That's really the most difficult part, is that we import more into this country than we can eat. And so it keeps the prices down.
And both shrimpers and the LSU Ag Center agree that imports have had one of the largest impacts on shrimp prices, making it cheaper for the consumer, but harder for Louisiana shrimpers to make a living.
The shrimp that we did catch, we just didn't get no money for them. There's no way that we can compete with this foreign market at the rate we're going.
But out of all the imported seafood, half is produced in an aqua farm. And a recent government accountability report is questioning the quality of the food we're getting.
People really need to be reading. Look at the back. Don't look at processed by. You want the country of origin labeling. What country did it come from?
You just don't realize what you're eating. When you get to a restaurant, you ask where your seafood comes from. If they say Louisiana, ask for the box. Is that not alarming? You know, antibiotics, steroids, because they have to put antibiotics to keep them healthy. They have to put steroids to make them grow.
India, France, Ecuador, Vietnam. So just to give you an idea of, seafood is being imported from different parts of the world.
NOAA says that roughly half of shrimp imports originates in aqua farms, farms that both raise and harvest seafood, and that aqua farm seafood from overseas may be treated with antibiotics and other drugs. Some of those are illegal in the U.S., which is noted by a recent government accountability report, which is also raising questions about the government's ability to inspect that product.
We need more testing at the ports. Only 2% of seafood is tested at the ports.
The FDA itself says ports across the country have limited physical testing capabilities.
When the seafood started coming in, it trickled, then all of a sudden it just ballooned, and they've never been able to catch up. It would take an army of people to be able to do the testing that needs to be done.
We sent FDA Commerce a letter saying that, we got problems coming in, and I get a letter back saying that they test 100% electronically.
An automated system flags companies with a history of importing products that don't meet those standards. And as of 2017, there were roughly 85 seafood companies that had been flagged, many with complaints that went back to 2009. We're told out of all the seafood the FDA refuses, shrimp represents more than half. But that same government report states that companies only have a 1 in 1,000 chance of being selected for drug testing.
If there may be a possible tip, then yes, right then and there at that particular port, some type of inspection or some type of investigation may be done.
We reached out to the FDA, who responded, quote, "Imported seafood is required to comply with the same safety laws and regulations as seafood produced in the U.S. The FDA will continue to use its existing tools to ensure the safety of seafood imported and strives to continually enhance the safety of the country's food supply." But even the FDA suggests that those countries lack the infrastructure and capabilities to test for the drugs. And shrimpers say that the current method isn't working, and more needs to be done to ensure shrimp imports are safe. While the challenges facing the industry are numerous, some remain hopeful.
What they have been through in the last 15 years or so, and you still have people fishing. We have some good, strong families that are business oriented, that they're going to survive. We're going to have an industry.
But others worry not just about themselves, also those that follow in their footsteps.
It was good back then. Now it's a lot of work, a lot of hard work for a little bit of money. I don't know. It's just you try to get your kids to do something else, but you know it's in their blood. They're not going to do nothing. It's just not the same as it was back then. The younger generation just can't get in it without making money.
While always believing in the product they're trying to sell.
You know, if you look at the definition of seafood, it comes from the sea. It doesn't come from a pond. It comes from the sea.
In Venice, I'm Daniel Phillips for KATC TV3.